Good evening once again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your meal. Thanks for your patience. We're going to have a wonderful evening here tonight. This is one of those evenings where I think you're going to walk out of this room and say, wow. This is a wow night. When you realize the outstanding graduates that we educate here at the University of Toledo, you can't help but feel a sense of pride and enthusiasm about this institution and the direction it's heading. These are the people that have brought such recognition and distinction to our campus, and we're so glad to have them back with us here tonight. Everyone has a story to tell. Tonight we're going to tell their story. You're going to meet the people who made a difference in their lives, their family, their friends, their advisors, their faculty members, their mentors, and you're going to understand why they're successful, because no one does this on their own. They do it because of a family, and we have a family here at the University of Toledo. I mentioned in the open that this is the 50th anniversary of the 1969 football Rockets. We are so pleased that we have 14 of them back with us here tonight. You might remember back in those days, it was the greatest season to that point in UT football history. The team went 11-0. We went down to the Tangerine Bowl in Orlando, Florida, beat up on Davidson. It was 42-7 at halftime. The final score was 56-33. This team, many of these players were sophomores. They went on, never lost a game here. Keep in mind, back in those days, there was no freshman eligibility in football. But these guys were amazing. They did an unbelievable job. They represented this institution with great distinction, and I hope that you will join me in welcoming each of them back here this weekend. They're going to be recognized. They'll be in the Homecoming Parade tomorrow, the Schmidt Homecoming Parade, and they'll be recognized at the Glass Bowl as well. We're going to take each of them individually and ask them to come forward. We're going to begin with the gentleman. We're doing these in alphabetical order, so this gentleman just happens to be the vice chair of the University Board of Trustees. Al Baker was a sophomore tight end out of Scott High School back in 1969. He was a sophomore, so first year of playing college football. Caught 5 touchdown passes that season, including grabs of 59 yards versus Western Michigan. And then he had a 62 and a 66-yard touchdown receptions against Ohio University that year. As a sophomore, he was second team All-Mid-American Conference, a 3-year letter winner. Please welcome Mr. Al Baker. My daughter had this gentleman in school. She called him Mr. B in the Oregon school system. He was a sophomore offensive tackle out of Start High School back in 1969. He ended up lettering for the Rockets in 70-71. Please welcome back Dale Bennington. This next gentleman was a junior tight end. He joined us out of Lorraine Admiral King High School. Please say hello to Paul Bieber. Paul? Had the pleasure to talk with this next gentleman out of Columbus this past week. He came out of Scott High School. He was a walk-on. He played all 3 years, bits and pieces. He does remember he had a quarterback sack in the Villanova game back in 1969. Ron Davis. Ron? This next gentleman is one of the greatest high school coaches in the history of the state of Ohio. Great teams at Archbold High School. He joined us out of Napoleon High School. He was a sophomore running back. He ran on a touchdown against Western Michigan. By the way, that was our homecoming game back in 1969. Isn't it ironic? We're going to do it again tomorrow against Western Michigan. Welcome back, John Downey. Our next football player was a junior cornerback on that team back in 1969. He ended up becoming the place kicker in 1970 for the team as well. He joined us out of Bowser High School. He had a 20-yard interception return for a touchdown against Marshall, 85 tackles and 3 interceptions that year, a 3-year letter winner, Mr. Tom Duncan. Next gentleman was a sophomore defensive back out of Warren Western Reserve High School. He led it all 3 years. had an unbelievable number of interceptions by the time he graduated. Please welcome back Gary Hinkson. Gary. One of the few juniors on that 1969 team out of Fremont St. Joe High School. He earned his letters in 69 and 70. Listen to these numbers. As a junior, Don Hotz had 154 tackles that year and 8 sacks. Welcome back, Don Hotz. That's fine. This next name is one of the greatest, not only in the history of the University of Toledo, but also the Mid-American Conference and the National Football League. He was a senior cornerback back in 1969. He was the tri-captain of this unbeaten football team. He was first-team All-Mid-American Conference out of White High School. He had 7 interceptions. He was a 3-year letter winner here as a Rocket. He played 9 years in the National Football League, all with the Miami Dolphins. He had 22 interceptions in the NFL. He was a key part of 2 of the Dolphins' Super Bowl winning teams. In fact, he was on the 1973 Miami team, which became the first and only team ever to this date to go undefeated in an entire National Football League season. Curtis Johnson, everybody. Our next Rocket, Scott Johnson, a sophomore offensive guard in 1969. He's out of Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania. He lettered as a senior, played quite a bit that season as well. Scott Johnson. Scott, welcome. Another sophomore on this 1969 squad. He was a linebacker out of Cleveland Holy Name High School. He's from Garfield Heights, Ohio. Originally, he lettered as a senior. Welcome back, Miles O'Malia. Miles. Another sophomore on that team, an offensive guard out of Cleveland St. Joe High School, who lettered as a senior, Richard Pivaronis. Richard. You know, that year, Scott High School brought us 3 really outstanding football players. He was one of them. He joined us, a sophomore defensive end, 50 tackles that year as a sophomore. He lettered all 3 years as a Rocket. Ron Roberts. Ron? And I don't think we really need to introduce this last gentleman, but I know you'll want to hear more about him if you don't already know him. Chuck Ely was the quarterback of this football team. He was phenomenal. Came out of Portsmouth High School. Never lost a game in high school. Never lost a game in college. After he graduated, he went on to play in the Canadian Football League with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Guess what he did the very first year in the CFL? He led the Tiger Cats to a championship, the Grey Cup Championship. First team All-MAC in 1969. The first of 3 consecutive years as the MAC Offensive Player of the Year. A phenomenal quarterback. He actually won our Alumni Association Blue Tee Award back in 2007. Welcome back from Toronto, Ontario, Mr. Chuck Ely. Chuck.
Thank you, Dan. I'm going to be very quick because Dan's on time here. President Gaber, award winners, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to my teammates. It is an honor for me to be able to share a few words with you about this team and about me. I remember a year ago, I was able to come and honored to speak to the graduates at the University of Toledo in the commencement. And I remember saying to them, looking at them and being there many years ago, at 20 years old or whatever their ages were, I said, you're in the first quarter of the rest of your life. I said, I'm in the fourth quarter trying to avoid the 2-minute warning. and that's what it's like. And then we come back and meet with my teammates here, and we live it all over again. And it's just been an amazing time just to be able to share those events that took place many years ago. And none of us kind of knew what was happening. But as I was reflecting on a number of things, and I looked at one of these books that, I don't know if many of you know, about Jim Taylor about the unbeatable Rockets, and every article that he wrote was in this booklet. And I looked at it, and I remember that the first time in my sophomore year, we started off playing Villanova, we played Marshall, and then we played Cleveland Bryant and OU, which was supposed to be the top team in the Mid-American Conference. And that's where Baker got his 2 touchdowns, 62 yards and 61 yards, I remember. And we went on to beat them. And then we had to go to the dreaded Bowling Green. I did not realize how much anguish that brought into our teammates that time when playing Bowling Green. But I learned very quickly. And we started off very well in that game, and then they came back. And we were down on our 20-yard line trying to move in, and we had 50 seconds left to go in the game. And I remember Ken Wilson saying to me this, and I remember it happening. As a sophomore, I walked into the huddle, and I clapped my hands and I said, let's just go to work. And we marched down against the wind, into that tough wind, and Donnie Fair made a couple of great catches, and we moved a few plays, and we got in the kicking range and kicked a field goal. Ken Krotz kicked a field goal and won the game. And, 27-26, whatever that score was, we won the game. But what was more important after we won the game was recognizing what class of seniors we had on that team that was able to be encouraging to us as sophomores and all the talented sophomores we had on that team. And it's not so much the avenue of the sport anymore as it was the people that we met. We were living in a pretty difficult period of time in American history. We're in Vietnam, assassinations of Kennedy and Martin Luther King and all these type of things. And we had kids, young men from the farm fields of Archibald and Ohio, and the kids that were coming from Cleveland, Detroit, New York, wherever. And we met together, and we found out what winning was all about, not just because of football and sport, but because of life. And that's why you see a lot of the people here who are very successful in their life because of what it meant to other people. So I want to thank the university for giving me the opportunity to come and play with these men and having that opportunity. And I'm looking forward to whatever time frame we have together as we begin to get through our aches and our pains and our time of being around together and appreciating every moment. So thank you, and have enjoyed the rest of the evening. It's our honor to be in front of you today. Thank you.
The 1969 football Rockets. I think we need a team photo, don't we? Yeah, get in there if you would, please. Yeah, wherever you can find a spot. Let's hear it one more time for the 1969 Rockets. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. You're welcome. Say hi to your daughter. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I can remember going to that homecoming game against Western Michigan with my dad, and I was just captivated. It was just a magical day, and we're going to have a magical day again tomorrow. It's so great to have them all back on campus, the 1969 football team. Thank you, gentlemen. And we've talked about leadership. We've talked about leadership at the university level. We've had great leaders here in the Alumni Association over the years. Many of our past presidents are here, sitting up in the front. We have our current board members here. Our current president, well, she's quite an impressive person. She's done an unbelievable job. 1986 civil engineering grad. She is at ProMedica Health Systems. She is their Chief Strategic Planning Officer. Please welcome the president of your Alumni Association this year, Robin Whitney.
Good evening and welcome back to the campus. Homecoming is a great time to come back to UT and to reminisce about the years that you've all had at this great university. You know, the tradition of homecoming has been happening here for 96 years. Back in 1923, October of 1923, was the very first homecoming. And at that homecoming, the football game was actually with a school called the Bowling Green Normal School. That was the name of the school. Not sure what that meant or how they were normal, but actually, the outcome of the game was very normal because the Rockets defeated them 27-0. So, thought that was an interesting fact. So I did a little research on homecoming, and there have been a lot of different entertainment venues that are different homecomings. And in 1968, Simon and Garfunkel performed here during homecoming week. And I was curious if our football team or any of the class of '69 remembered that. I thought it was kind of interesting to have, such a historical band perform here. So kind of gone a little off script, so I should probably get back on focus and say that I am honored to serve as the Alumni Association president this year. The Alumni Association puts on this event as well as about 200 events throughout the year, some locally, but really all across the United States. And it is our membership in the Alumni Association that allows these events to happen. So our membership has increased 4 consecutive years now, which makes all of these events possible. I wanted to highlight one of the events that's coming up here at the university. We have what's called a Day of Giving. This is the 3rd year that we have tried this. The Day of Giving is starts Tuesday, October 15th, and ends on the 16th at noon. So the idea is to try to get as many donations as possible during a 36-hour period. The theme is Rocket Forward, You Launch Lives. It's open to everyone, and you can give to any fund of your choice. You can give online, you can call the office. But last year, we raised over $700,000 towards different programs at the university, and we had over 3,100 donors. So we're trying to beat that this year, so I would encourage all of you to help support this event. So I'm looking forward to seeing everyone before the game tomorrow. We've got the parade in the morning, and we've got the events at the William and Carol Kester Alumni Pavilion before the game. So hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Robin, thank you very much. Robin Whitney. You know, for the past 5 years, we had the pleasure of introducing Dr. Sharon Gaber. She joined us here to become the 17th president of the University of Toledo. I've had the pleasure to work with a lot of presidents over the years. I will tell you that she is absolutely fantastic. She connects with our graduates like none other that we've ever had here at the University of Toledo. She's helped move this institution forward, and we're so glad that she is here on our campus. Would you please welcome the president of our alma mater, Dr. Sharon Gaber.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to begin by welcoming everybody back. Thank you for being here. Alumni, students, faculty, staff, special guests, supporters from throughout the community. We're thrilled to have you here for homecoming weekend. Some of you have traveled a long way to be here, and we want to welcome you back to your alma mater. On behalf of the University of Toledo, let me start by congratulating all of this year's award honorees. Tonight, we celebrate you. You represent the best of what the University of Toledo has to offer, and I'm happy to see so many of your families and friends have joined us tonight. This is an exciting time to be a Rocket. We have a lot of positive energy and momentum to celebrate, so I'm going to tell you a few things that are going on. First of all, our national reputation continues to rise. We're thrilled to announce that we jumped 169 places in the latest Wall Street Journal Times Higher Education rankings, and we are ranked within the top 100 public universities. That deserves a hand. Interestingly, if you break that down even further and look within the state of Ohio, we are number 3 in the state of Ohio in that ranking behind Ohio State and Miami University. Our programs in the U.S. News rankings continue to improve, and specifically the graduate programs both in law and in nursing rose dramatically this year. Further, our Fueling Tomorrow's brand continues to highlight students, faculty, and alumni to introduce ourselves outside of Toledo. You will see that tagline more and more, Fueling Tomorrow's, and we're thrilled because people have begun to recognize that and see the connection with us. In terms of student success, our 6-year graduation rate has reached an all-time high. In fact, in our strategic plan, we had laid out a goal. We reached the goal 3 years ahead of schedule, and we're very pleased to be making that progress. Our first to second year retention rates have climbed 7 straight years. In terms of research, our total research awards have grown for 5 straight years and increased 39% during our last academic year. A recent example of University of Toledo, a physicist was awarded a $7.4 million grant by the U.S. Air Force to develop new solar technology. And we continue to receive national attention for our faculty expertise. Within the past couple of weeks, University of Toledo faculty members were featured on the Academic Minute, which is National Public Radio programs that were broadcast to over 200 stations across the country and shared on Inside Higher Education. We just saw our 1969 football team. Again, our current team, Rocket Football, is off to a great start. Hopefully everybody knows we had a fantastic win last weekend against BYU. That's right. We had a shutout against Murray State, which was 45-0 in our home opener, and we're looking forward to a great game tomorrow. In athletics, they continue to perform well in the classroom as well as on the field, and they received the MAC Institutional Academic Achievement Award for the 2nd straight year. Our student athletes earned a school record GPA last year, and we're very pleased with that. Thank you. If you haven't been on campus or you haven't had the time, tomorrow I encourage you to look around. You will find that our students are now enjoying kayaks on the Ottawa River. And in addition, you'll see students scooting around on Lime scooters, and we have the bike share program. So our students are moving in all different ways. We celebrated the 2nd annual Rocket Week with the city of Toledo a couple weeks ago. We were thrilled to do that. The rocket flag has been flying proudly downtown at One Government Center. We're thrilled to have that partnership and to continue that. Our students also continue to volunteer in our community. They have volunteered nearly 43,000 hours last year of community service. So what I tell you is put all together, a University of Toledo degree has never been a better investment. When you compare the average annual salaries of our alumni to student loan debt held after graduation, we are the most competitive public university of our size in Ohio, and we are thrilled to be able to say that. As alums and supporters, you are our best ambassadors. We encourage you and implore you to continue to show your rocket pride. If there are high school students that you think you should be sending our way, please let us know. We want them to come and see the great things going on here. Please continue to share our good news throughout the community. And thank you all very much. Congratulations again to our honorees. I hope everybody has a great homecoming weekend. And go Rockets.
Dr. Sharon Gaber. And if you need to find the perfect sales tool for why high school students should come to the University of Toledo, you're going to meet them right now. We're going to present our outstanding graduates from each of our colleges, as well as the Schmidt Young Alum, the Blue Tea, and the Gold Tea Award. We're going to take the colleges in alphabetical order. The very first college is led by Dean Charlene Gilbert. It's the College of Arts and Letters. Their award recipient this year, well, Dr. John Stevens joins us from Washington, D.C.
Some tour our nation's capital to see buildings on Constitution Avenue, like the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. When Dr. John Stevens takes his sons, Nate and Dan, there, it's to show them where Dad works. While most see the White House from outside the fence, the Stevens family has a bit more leeway. And with good reason, too. John, a 1994 magna cum laude Toledo economics graduate, is an economist and associate director in the Division of Research and Statistics at the Federal Reserve Board. Whether he's speaking at the National Association for Business Economics or posing for a portrait in the White House, John's work plays a major role in helping shape the mission of the Fed, which is to foster the stability, integrity, and efficiency of America's monetary, financial, and payment systems. In other words, Raymond's daddy is a big deal in D.C., forecasting and briefing the likes of the Federal Open Market Committee, and in places like Seoul, South Korea, when he meets with representatives of other central banks around the world. Aside from a one-year term as a non-political appointment to the President's Council of Economic Advisors in 2007, Raymond's father has been with the Fed since earning his Ph.D. in economics from the University of Minnesota in 2001. Nathaniel's dad oversees two groups that comprise more than 30 employees, including about 20 of the Fed's 400 Ph.D. economists. Dan's father has been particularly focused on developing and leading economic measurement efforts that seek to utilize non-traditional sources of information, such as big data, to help the country better understand economic developments. Here with Eddie Lazier, the 24th chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, John is also a special sworn status researcher for the U.S. Bureau of the Census and recently became an associate editor for the new Harvard Data Science Review. Born in Findlay, Ohio, to Kathy and the late Jeff Stevens, John moved until the 5th grade when the family returned to Findlay. When he came to UToledo, John was undecided what to do, exploring everything from art history to business to geology to Japanese. Eventually, he became an international relations major, then switched to economics after taking Econ 315, intermediate macroeconomic theory, taught by Outstanding Teacher Award recipient Dr. Mike Dowd. It was Dowd who got John excited and a career path was born. John has been married since 2013 to the former Dominique Casimir, an attorney he met at a restaurant in Georgetown. Their 6-child family, Nate, Dan, Nathaniel, Sophia, Berno, and Raymond. Sophia's stepfather's work is critical to the financial stability of our country. For distinguished leadership at the Federal Reserve Board for nearly 2 decades, the College of Arts and Letters proudly presents its Outstanding Alumni Award for 2019 to Dr. John Stevens.
Dr. John Stevens. John, congratulations. Up next is the College of Business and Innovation. It's led by Dean Ann Bayless. We're going to stay in Washington, D.C. What do you say? Rodney Pereira.
Thanks to the education and career direction he received at the University of Toledo over 30 years ago, Rodney Pereira has built arguably the most impressive scrapbook of any Toledo graduate. Here he is with Norway's King Harald V at the Royal Palace in Oslo. And there's the 1987 graduate with the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at the State Department. That's Grand Duke Henri at the Royal Palace in Luxembourg with our computer systems degree holder. Look at this one. That's the former president of Malta, Guido De Marco, at the Presidential Palace. Meet Sri Lanka's new ambassador to the United States and the College of Business and Innovation's outstanding graduate for 2019, UToledo alum Rodney Pereira. That's him on the left. Rodney's career, which has allowed him to work alongside kings, prime ministers, and presidents like Italy's Carlo Ciampi, is rooted in advice he received from advisors in the College of Engineering. Early on at UToledo, one told him it's better to get it right at the beginning. A second advisor, after Rodney began to question becoming an engineer, told him that the College of Business and Computer Systems would be a better fit. So how does one go from a computer systems degree to becoming a career diplomat assigned to the country which leads the free world? While in business, Rodney took an international marketing course and loved it. His final course before graduation was Management 400, and the faculty member, whose name Rodney wishes he could remember because of the difference he made in his life, told him to pick a topic for a term paper that he would want to read about late at night. Rodney chose religious terrorism in Ireland as Sri Lanka was going through similar upheaval. When he was done with the class, Rodney knew he could do something other than computers. Returning home with his Toledo degree, Rodney had opportunities with American Express and Citibank to do computer work when his lawyer father, Peter Paul, pointed out that their country was looking for candidates for diplomatic service. So Rodney, who spoke 5 languages and would one day receive the Grand Officer of the Order of the Star of Italian Solidarity, Italy's highest civilian honor, began the extensive testing and interview process. 31 years later, he is one of the senior-most officers in the Sri Lanka Foreign Service, representing the island nation located in the Indian Ocean, a country of more than 21 million people. Rodney has served as the ambassador to Italy, Greece, Albania, and Norway, and most recently to Belgium, Luxembourg, and the European Union before his appointment to the United States in July. A 1996 master's degree graduate of Columbia University in International Relations, he has also worked extensively with the United Nations General Assembly. Rodney's queen is his wife, Masako, whom he met while studying computers in Japan before his arrival in Toledo. She was a Japanese language teacher, but as the ambassador is quick to point out, not his. They married in 1997 and had a son, Mayuri, 2 years later. He graduated from the International School of Brussels and is a junior at Ithaca College in New York, majoring in television and radio with a minor in integrated marketing and French. And to probably no one's surprise, Mayuri is an international senator in student government. His career, rooted in his time at the University of Toledo, has taken him around the world to work with the leaders of this planet, of which he is one as well. Ambassador Rodney Pereira is the College of Business and Innovation's 2019 Outstanding Graduate.
Ambassador, thank you so much, and welcome back to campus. It's time now to meet the outstanding graduate from the College of Engineering. Dean Michael Toole will present the award to a Toledo native and a Toledo resident, Vince DePaffy.
The College of Engineering's distinguished alum is proof positive that with another chance, a successful run is possible. To hear Vince DePaffy tell that if not for former Deans Les Lottie and Ernie Weaver, he might not be a college graduate, let alone recognized as one of Toledo's most successful alumni. A 1978 alumnus of St. Francis de Sales, Vince graduated from UToledo 7 years later with a degree in mechanical engineering. After a gap year following high school, he earned money for college at Macy's department store and later as a mechanical intern and drafter for Avca, a local engineering firm. But Vince's grades were not good. In fact, after getting all C's, he was suspended for poor academic progress. After he pleaded his case to the 2 deans to hold on to his student ID card, they agreed to allow Vince to continue. Our awardee says it wasn't a second chance, it was probably his last one. He told the pair that he would prove to them that he was worth it. He ended up making the dean's list. Earlier this year, Vince was selected to be the next president and chief executive officer of the SSOE Group, a global project delivery firm for architecture, engineering, and construction management headquartered in Toledo. Currently the firm's chief operations officer and executive vice president, he will begin leading SSOE and its 1,000 employees around the world in December. Fitting in that Vince's grandfather, Angelo, came to the United States through Ellis Island from Italy. Dad Vince Sr. was a Toledo police officer, Mom Mary Clara, Macy's executive, who got her son that retail job that helped him realize that was not what he wanted to do with his life. Vince is the oldest child, followed by his late brother Dave, who died of cancer, Matt, Kathy, and Jody. All 5 graduated from Toledo, 3 engineers, 1 French major, and 1 accountant. After graduation, Mom and Dad saw Vince earn his PE certificate and continue to work for AFCA, eventually becoming regional business manager. In 2000, Vince was hired by SSOE to build its food business. Did he ever? Under Vince's leadership, the business of building manufacturing facilities grew from 1 client to over a dozen, including the likes of Kellogg's, ConAgra, Pepsi, Coke, and General Mills. SSOE eventually became the number 2 firm in the country, as recognized by Engineering and News Record, later expanding to Mexico and China. In 2010, Vince became SSOE's Chief Strategy Officer, overseeing the growth of its international business. He rebuilt China's client base from automotive to include retail and semiconductor, mirroring that country's transition to a consumer-driven economy. In Mexico, he retooled and expanded business from automotive to also include retail and food. SSOE now designs all of Walmart's distribution centers throughout Mexico. Vince met his wife, the former Sandy Vasquez, in 1983. It was a college ID night at Henry J's, a local dance club. That relationship lasted all of 2 dates, but 2 years later she called him out of the blue. They married in 1988 and have 2 adult children. Their oldest, Stephen, lives in Toledo and creates alternative electronic music and sells it on Spotify and Amazon. Emily resides in San Francisco and works in the fashion industry for the Fabletics clothing company. One other thing about Vince, he survived open heart surgery and 3 surgical heart operations. 3 months afterward, he ran a 5K and 3 years later completed the first of 2 triathlons. As he did in college, Vince got another chance and made the most of it. Vince DePoffe, 2019's Distinguished Alum in the College of Engineering.
Vince, congratulations. One other thing that you may not know about Vince is that Vince is a clown. Vince really is a clown. He's a member of the Distinguished Clown Corps here in Toledo. Just a great gentleman. Congratulations, Vince. Barry Sherman, he's the interim dean of the College of Health and Human Services. Their awardee this year also comes from Toledo. She's a world-renowned medical missionary.
The College of Health and Human Services Outstanding Alumna is one of the foremost medical missionaries for hearing in the world. Dr. Rhonda Mansour Schauscher, who completed a bachelor's degree in speech disorders in 1979, is a clinical doctor of audiology, director and owner of the Northwest Ohio Hearing Clinic. For more than 30 years, the Toledo resident has provided diagnostic services and treatment for those suffering from hearing loss, tinnitus, and vertigo. Listen to this. Rhonda has quietly provided free hearing care around the world and in her hometown to thousands. Her mission trips, numbering in double digits, have taken her to the West Bank, Lebanon, Jordan, and Africa. Rhonda sets up shop as if she were at home, providing all of the same services. One mission project took 8 months to complete. Rhonda flew this young Palestinian refugee who could not hear at all to Flower Hospital in Sylvania for a cochlear implant. Earlier this decade, Marwan's mother started Toledo Hear Care Connection, a giving circle which is housed in the University of Toledo. Patients have to qualify financially and then have to reimburse for their treatment. But that reimbursement is unique. Rhonda offers her services, but with one condition. In exchange, those who benefit must provide community service hours to a nonprofit organization in Toledo. Currently, no social service or government agency provides low-cost hearing screening and treatment for low-income individuals in Lucas County, yet Rhonda does. Earlier this year, Rhonda was honored with a local Jefferson Award in recognition of her contributions to the community. Last year, the YWCA recognized her as a Milestone Award winner for her work in science. Born in Paris while her soon-to-be pediatrician father, Nesser, was going to medical school there, Rhonda's parents, her mom is Wasila, are from Palestine, and Rhonda says she owes them everything. They moved the family, which would grow to include big sister Linda and Rhonda's younger siblings Rita, Lena, Waleed, and Fareed to Toledo when Rhonda was 5. Growing up in Old Orchard, just steps from the university, Miss Arabia of Toledo's 1975 International Festival knew that was where she would go to college. The DeVilbiss High School alumna went on to earn a master's in audiology from the University of Michigan in 1981 and her doctorate from the Arizona School of Health Sciences in 2006. Rhonda married Hussein Shausher, a 1981 UToledo civil engineering grad that very same year. The pair have known each other since childhood. The former CEO of JEM Inc., annually one of the top 100 engineering specialty contractors in the country, and former chair of the University of Toledo Foundation Board of Trustees, Hussein is actively involved with Rhonda's missionary work and shared the Jefferson Award with her. In addition to son Marwan, the couple's oldest child is daughter Yasmin Moore, who has provided Rhonda with 2 grandchildren, Selma, who is already listening to her future, at least according to Grandma, as well as a grandson named Case. Hear all about it, audiologist and medical missionary extraordinaire, Dr. Rhonda Mansour Shausher is the 2019 Outstanding Alumna in the College of Health and Human Services.
Rhonda, congratulations. Up next is the Judith Herb College of Education. I received the nicest email today from Judy. She was unable to be here. I think it's the first time since the college was named in her honor that she was unable to be here. But something tells me Judy's probably watching our live stream right now back home. The dean is Dean Raymond Whitty. Their award recipient, she's had a great year.
To say that this has been a good year for Mona El-Hayani is sort of like saying things might be a little crazy right now in Washington, D.C. 24 years into a teaching and leadership career for Toledo Public Schools, Mona is receiving national acclaim for being at the forefront of the fight for human trafficking awareness and prevention, basic human rights, and social justice. Earlier this year, the grades 7, 9, and 10 history teacher at Toledo Early College High School was named the Ohio Teacher of the Year. The designation took her to the White House to be recognized with the very best of America's educators. In just the past 2 weeks, the Ohio Department of Education announced that Fatima's daughter, a 1999 master's degree holder in secondary education, will be the 2020 Ohio Teacher Fellow, promoting teacher voice, teacher leadership, and better recognition of teachers statewide. President of the Lucas County Commissioners, Tina Skeldon-Wozniak's friend, will also continue to focus on human trafficking prevention education as part of that fellowship. The University of Toledo has another distinction for Mona this year. She's the Judith Herb College of Education's Outstanding Graduate. What the 1990 Rogers High School Homecoming Queen has done to receive all of this recognition is simply amazing. Vice President of the Toledo Federation of Teachers, Mona and TFT President Kevin Dalton recognized that human trafficking is a huge problem in Toledo, and as educators, they needed to do something about it. Mona took the lead and became Director of Human Trafficking, Human Rights, and Social Justice Issues for TFT. In the past 5 years, the 1994 holder of a bachelor's degree in sociology from UToledo researched, created, and implemented professional development training in human trafficking awareness and prevention. What began in her hometown has expanded nationally. She has presented to more than 16,000 administrators, teachers, and students. Passionately, she does all of this on her own time and with no monetary support. A believer in leading by example in everything she does, Mona has also received an Ohio Liberator Award, an Award of Excellence from the Jefferson Awards Foundation, and a Community Cares Award from the Lucas County Human Trafficking Coalition for her work. Mona's dad, Shaker, graduated from Toledo and was an engineer for the city. That's older sister Nada, another UToledo grad who is vice president of L Brands, formerly known as The Limited in Columbus. Mom Fatima is also a UToledo alumna. She went on to earn a PhD at Michigan and taught at both of her alma maters. It was Mom who told Mona she was a natural-born teacher, and that's what she should do. Smart lady. Mona went on to become a two-time U.S. Department of Education Fulbright Hays Award recipient. She did her research in South Africa, as well as Palestine, Israel, and Jordan. Mona's husband of 20 years is Chris Dandino. They were students at McTighe Junior High School when they met in 1984, and that's where Chris proposed to our award winner. He works at Yark Automotive. 2019 has been a very good year indeed for Mona El Hayani, and the Judah Thurb College of Education is pleased to add to her recognition. With gratitude for her commitment to improving the lives of children everywhere, she is the college's outstanding graduate.
She is a dynamo. Mona El Hayani. Mona, congratulations. Our next college is under the direction of Dean Ben Barros. It's the College of Law. Their awardee tonight joins us from the sunshiny state of Florida, Mr. George Wilson.
George Wilson II has built the largest estate practice in Naples, Florida. To put that in perspective, Andy's husband works in a city with the 6th highest per capita income in America. In 35 years, George's 7-attorney firm of Wilson & Johnson has developed a client base of over 2,500 families. 500 of those have a net worth of $10 million or greater. 1,000 of those families are worth $5 to $10 million. His largest client has a net worth of $500 million. George is an expert in the areas of estate and tax planning, charitable giving, and trust and estate administration, with some very visible clients, including Ndamukong Suh, the highest paid defensive player in the history of the National Football League. The distinguished graduate in Toledo Law for 2019 even had his son Tyler, a computer programmer, develop a plan that showed that it made the most sense from a tax perspective for the former Detroit Lion to sign with the Miami Dolphins. After graduating with honors with a degree in economics from the University of Cincinnati, Whitney's dad came to our law school and got some great advice from faculty member Jerry Moran, who told the Cincinnati native that if he really wanted to be successful in estate planning, he needed to work for a firm specializing in the field. Tyler, Whitney, and Sean's father graduated from Toledo in 1980. He went south to the University of Miami and completed a Master of Law degree in estate planning 1 year later. George had a job lined up with a law firm back in Cincinnati when he decided to take the Florida bar exam, but was broke. Unemployed and $25,000 in debt from college, he drove to Naples, found a phone book, and started cold calling law firms. He was hired by Cummings and Lockwood at $10 an hour. He stayed with them for 15 years before becoming the managing partner of Wilson & Johnson in 1996. One of the best things George managed was marrying Andy last year. He had been divorced for a decade when a mutual friend suggested he meet a woman whose husband had passed away. The wedding was attended by George's dad, 9 decades young, and his sister Jean, who also graduated from our College of Law in 1984. When Andy is able to get him out of the office, George is also the author of a multi-volume treatise titled Estate and Personal Finance Planning. The couple loves to take advantage of Florida's weather and water. George Wilson has taken advantage of skills honed at the University of Toledo to become one of the most successful estate planners in the United States. He's the College of Law's choice as its distinguished graduate.
George, welcome back, and thank you very much. Congratulations. Dr. Christopher Cooper is the Dean of College of Medicine and Life Sciences. This next individual is one of the top physicians in the entire world, Dr. Ann Berger.
One can make the argument quite easily that Dr. Ann Berger is the foremost expert in pain and palliative medical care in the United States, if not the world. Carl's wife, the College of Medicine and Life Sciences choice as its outstanding graduate, is the chief of pain and palliative care for the National Institutes of Health Clinical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, the largest research hospital in the country. The 1988 alumna of what was then known as the Medical College of Ohio actually founded NIH's Pain and Palliative Care Division and was the driving force behind the creation of NIH's hospice unit. She is also the lead author of the foremost academic textbook in the field, soon to be published in its 5th edition. Before joining NIH, Ann started a palliative care service at Yale University and another at Cooper Hospital, University Medicine. The late Dame Cicely Saunders, founder of the first hospice and matriarch of palliative care, found a kindred soul in Ann, who earned a bachelor's degree in nursing at New York University and a master's in nursing at the University of Pennsylvania before entering medical school. Ann Cohen and her younger brother Fred were born in New York. Dad Carl served in the Army Air Corps during World War II and helped liberate Nazi concentration camps. He never talked about the atrocities in their Jewish household. Mom Judy was born in Germany before moving to Israel and then the United States. Ann and Fred stayed close to their heritage, vacationing summers with their grandparents Solomon and Regina in Switzerland. A brilliant student, Ann's high school years in Queens flew by, graduating at age 16. When she was 14, her grandfather died of bladder cancer. It was a pivotal moment. There was no such thing then as palliative care. Motivated to become a nurse, Ann completed her bachelor's at NYU when she was 20 and earned her master's from Penn at 22. She came to Toledo to become the first clinical nurse specialist in clinical oncology at Toledo Hospital before deciding to go to medical school. It was here that Ann joined the Jewish singles group and met Carl, a nuclear engineer working for Davis Bessie. He tutored her in physics. The energy was spectacular. They married in 1984. By the time she earned her medical degree, Ann was a mother. Her son Stephen is now an MD PhD doing his residency at New York University. He lives there with his partner Gabe, who is also doing his residency. Daughter Rebecca arrived when Ann was doing her residency in Hartford, Connecticut. It's safe to say that medicine is in Stephen and Rebecca's DNA. Rebecca is a pediatric hematology and oncology nurse practitioner in St. Petersburg, Florida, at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. As she did at Yale and Cooper, Ann leads an interdisciplinary team at NIH. Along with 7 employees in other departments, the clinic handles 7,000 case visits annually. Focused on providing relief from the symptoms and stress of the most serious of illnesses, Ann's compassion, education, and research at NIH is providing a roadmap for medical personnel around the world, and, in the end, a better quality of life for us all. She is a giant in pain and palliative care medicine. Dr. Ann Berger is the College of Medicine and Life Sciences Distinguished Graduate in 2019.
It's nice when you can bring back graduates who are world-renowned, and Dr. Ann Berger is one of those individuals. Congratulations, Ann. The interim dean of the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics is John Plenifish. Their award recipient this year, Dr. Ashley Fernandez.
Want to know when you've made it, really made it? Sure, it doesn't hurt that Dr. Ashley Fernandez is the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics Outstanding Graduate, or even that Ohio State University's College of Medicine bestowed upon him its Inspire Educational Award in 2017. It's nice, too, that the Catholic Medical Association named him its National Mentor of the Year in 2015, and that medical students at OSU tabbed him as their Mentor of the Year earlier this year. All are great honors for Arif and Mithran's dad, a 1994 graduate of NSM and the Jessup Scott Honors College, yet they pale in comparison to the distinction Mithran bestowed upon his father. According to the child, Ashley is as handsome as Elvis, as strong as Superman, and as cool as Lenny Kravitz. Meet the pediatrician, associate professor and director of professionalism competency in the College of Medicine at OSU and Nationwide Children's Hospital, overseeing the humanistic and ethical training of future physicians and coordinating educational interventions and assessments geared toward professionalism. If you're getting the idea that the Associate Director of OSU Center for Bioethics is successful and fun, look no further than his wedding photo from 15 years ago. Actually, this is Shruti and Ashley's wedding picture, and so is this one. She is a family medicine doctor. The couple met during medical school at Ohio State. Medicine was the prescription for Ashley almost from the time he was born. His focus on ethics developed while at UToledo. The middle of what would become 5 boys born to Sydney and Thelma, Catholic Indian immigrants from a former Portuguese colony in India, Ashley was the first to be born in America. Dad was an internal and family medicine physician who moved his family to the Toledo suburb of Oregon when he took a job at St. Charles Hospital. The Fernandez kids, now proud Americans, rang in the bicentennial underneath a Liberty Bell made by Dad. Of course, in America, do as Americans do. But Ashley says that he and his brother Earl were the 2 worst baseball players in the state. They may have struggled at hitting the ball, but all 5 boys did a great job hitting the books. Like their mom, all 5, including Trevor, graduated from the University of Toledo, with Carl and Eustace also becoming physicians. A St. Francis product who was ranked in the top 10 in the country for debating when he graduated from high school, Ashley was selected for UToledo's Salford Exchange program, spending 1 year studying in England. Majoring in biology and always planning to become a physician, it was at Toledo that Professors Charles Blatz and Susan Purviance convinced him to also become a philosophy major and probe deeper questions related to the people focus of medicine. The magna cum laude graduate of David Hoke's Jessup Scott Honors College has since made it his career. In addition to his OSU medical degree, Ashley went on to earn a master's in philosophy from Johns Hopkins and a PhD in philosophy from Georgetown. Twice named Professor of the Year at Wright State University's College of Medicine, he joined Ohio State in 2014 and follows the motto, "Think with words, teach with actions." Blessed with the talent of teaching and mentoring future physicians with a holistic approach, Dr. Ashley Fernandez is the College of Natural Sciences and Mathematics 2019 Outstanding Alumnus.
Ashley Fernandez. You know what's interesting in doing these videos and talking with our award recipients? It turns out that Ashley and I lived 5 blocks from each other. We probably passed each other riding our bicycles back and forth all those years. Ashley Fernandez, congratulations. Up next is our College of Nursing. We're going to go all the way to the left coast for our next recipient. The College of Nursing is led by Dean Linda Lewandowski. Their award recipient, Dr. Rhonda Foster.
Looking for a superstar in the field of nursing? Look no further than the state of California and Dr. Rhonda Foster. Rhonda is Vice President of Patient Care and Chief Nursing Officer for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. How big of a deal is that? Well, freestanding Children's Hospital of LA is ranked by U.S. News and World Report as the 5th best pediatric medical center in the nation and is tops in all of the western part of the country. Rhonda has more than 2,500 full-time employees under her direction, 4,000 employees total, and a budget hovering just under $400 million. Our awardee is so accomplished that her consulting work has taken her to places like Brazil, Dubai, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, and alongside the likes of Her Royal Highness Noor, Queen Noor of Jordan. In fact, the 1984 nursing grad who earned a master's in public health from our College of Health and Human Services in 2002 has spent a decade as a consultant and educator for the American Nurses Association, which represents more than 4 million nurses in the country. Today, Rhonda is back in the state where she was born. Her late father, John, was a Marine. John and his wife, Rose Smith, raised Rhonda and siblings Sheila and Taiwana in Toledo. Rhonda's dad was a social worker, Mama Para, in special ed. A 1975 Central Catholic High School alumna, it was at Central that Counselor Jack Foy recommended that Rhonda, because of her love of science, follow the path of his sister into nursing. She followed Foy's good direction. The first in her family to earn a college degree, Rhonda completed an associate's in nursing at Owens Community College before following more advice from Foy to complete a bachelor's. She didn't stop there. Rhonda worked at St. Vincent Mercy Medical Center and went on to complete a doctorate in leadership studies at Bowling Green State University. Her skills have taken her to Children's Hospital of Michigan in Detroit, where for 7 years she served as Vice President, Patient Care Services, and Chief Nursing Officer. And then back to California, where she served as CNO of St. Joseph Health of Sonoma County, and Interim Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing and Patient Care Services Officer of City of Hope National Medical Center. Rhonda is truly a superstar in the field of nursing, but son Cameron is Rhonda's superstar. Adopted when he was 3 months old, Cam is a special needs young man on the autism spectrum. He's always positive and smiling, and that's what Rhonda was doing when she picked Cam up one day after junior high school. One of Cam's classmates approached Rhonda and asked, "Is this your son? You know, it's a pleasure to know him." Rhonda got to know her fiancé Tony when she contracted with him to develop a website for her consulting business. He developed the site, they developed chemistry, and have been together ever since. As Vice President of Patient Care and Chief Nursing Officer at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Dr. Rhonda Foster holds one of the top nursing jobs in the world. This superstar also holds a new title, Outstanding Alumna in the College of Nursing for 2019.
Dr. Rhonda Foster, everyone. Congratulations. We have a new dean this year in our College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. He's been spending a lot of time at Washington State University. We were so pleased to be able to bring him here to Toledo, to the University of Toledo. His name is Gary Pollack. He'll do a great job with the college. Their award recipient this year is a gentleman who's been very, very successful in the healthcare field, Mr. John Holcomb.
Michael Holcomb's dad has been able to work magic in the healthcare field since graduating in 1990. John Holcomb, the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, is the business segment leader and president of Optum's Population Health Solutions. Brian's dad bikes and runs Population Health Solutions, annually a $1.3 billion business which employs 4,000 nurses and 100 physicians. Brian rides easy knowing that Dad and PHS deliver care management solutions to millions of patients in this country. John's company specializes in general care and specific condition management for chronic illnesses, including high blood pressure, asthma, COPD, diabetes, and cardiac conditions. A deep dive will tell you that John's firm goes below the surface to improve patient experiences and outcomes while reducing the total cost of care. John was born in Pittsburgh. That's his mom, Dottie, on the right. Dottie and her husband, Phil, raised John in the western Cleveland suburb of Amherst. When he came to Toledo as a pharmacy major, John soon realized that some prescriptions can be delivered in liquid form. He learned those lessons in part from Jack Wilhelm, a 1969 pharmacy grad who co-owned Orchard Drugs, and from another Orchard owner in 1969 grad, Bob Erfer. They hired John to work in their pharmacy. John did realize very quickly that if he was going to continue to have a good time outside of the classroom with Kappa Psi, the professional pharmacy fraternity, and the fun-loving Orchard Drug Group, he needed to be prepared at test time. So he paid classmate Kelly Lowry, a straight-A student, for copies of her notes. Meet Kelly Holcomb, also a 1990 College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences graduate. John took Kelly to dinner one night to thank her for taking such great notes. Soon they were mixing pleasure with business. They married in 1994. Their twin sons, Brian and Michael, are seniors at Minnetonka High School, which is located in that Minneapolis, Minnesota suburb. John is now in his 7th year on the Minnetonka School Board. The district is the top-ranked school system in the entire state and is such a point of pride that board members like John ride in local parades. John's ride to his lofty position began as a clinical pharmacist at St. Joseph's Hospital in Lorain, followed by a move to Finest, a grocery chain in the Cleveland area, where he began as a pharmacist and was soon managing professional services for 40 of their stores. His success caught the attention of Target, now the 8th largest retailer in the U.S. They shipped him to Clearwater Beach, Florida, where he oversaw pharmacies in Florida, Texas, and Oklahoma. After 5 years, he was promoted to Target's Minnesota headquarters to run their pharmacy business nationwide and eventually all of Target's global pharmacy operation, a $2 billion a year responsibility with 1,600 retail pharmacies and 70 clinics. When CVS acquired Target's pharmacy business 3 years ago, John joined Optum in Population Health Solutions. Some of John's best managerial solutions have come from the likes of the late Dr. Bob Schlembach, a UToledo faculty member and trusted advisor, and Jack Wilhelm, the independent pharmacy owner, who taught John the skill of running a profitable business grounded in high levels of customer service and genuine interest in and generosity for employees, including the occasional beer run. Thanks to that support, John Holcomb is now one of the top healthcare executives in the country and the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences Outstanding Graduate for 2019.
John Holcomb, congratulations, John, and welcome, Gary, to the University of Toledo. We move now to the Jessup Scott Honors College. Its dean is Heidi Apple. Their award recipient joins us tonight from Cleveland, Dave Rowan.
The Jessup Scott Honors College choice for the James K. Larson Distinguished Achievement Award has distinguished himself as one of the top legal minds in the country. David Rowan is Chief Legal Officer, Chief Governance Officer, and Secretary of the Cleveland Clinic. He also oversees government relations. To answer the elephant in the room, Laura's husband is in charge of all legal matters for the health system giant, which employs over 66,000 worldwide and has annual operating revenue of $10 billion. His staff of 100 has 40 attorneys assisting facilities in Ohio, Florida, Nevada, Toronto, London, and Abu Dhabi. It was at the end of his freshman year at Toledo that Todd Weiner's classmate decided that he wanted to become a lawyer. Dave liked medicine, but as an economics and political science dual major, he liked negotiating better. Tom Titkemeyer and Mel Solomon's roommate is especially grateful for the support he received from Larson, the first full-time director of the honors program and the man for whom this award is named. Jim helped Dave's career take flight by counseling him and helping him audit classes, including some in the College of Law. Our awardee graduated summa cum laude. Dave married Laura Green 7 days before entering Georgetown University's Law Center, where he graduated magna cum laude. The pair met at Hicksville High School in Defiance County and became an item in spite of the fact that he was at Toledo and she was attending Bowling Green. They have one daughter, Lindsay Herr, who is curator of clinical oncology programs for the American Society of Clinical Oncology. Although they live in the D.C. area, Lindsay and her husband Adam, like Dave, are big fans of the Cleveland Browns and the Dog Pound. Dave's parents, Bob and Dorothy, raised 4 children. Dave was third in line, followed by younger brother Stan, a UToledo grad who is now a physician in Bryan. Dave and Stan traveled to Antarctica earlier this year. The firstborn sibling in Dave's family is Janet, who preceded Bob. After completing law school, Dave joined the firm of Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey and became a partner in 1987. In 1995, Stan and Bob's brother became general counsel of Cleveland Clinic while remaining a partner in SSD. 10 years later, Dave became the chief legal officer of the Cleveland Clinic. An expert in the field of international healthcare and multinational ventures, Dave is a trustee of the Diversity Center and the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Foundation. With appreciation for his stature in the legal profession, the Jessup Scott Honors College proudly recognizes David Rowan with the James K. Larson Distinguished Achievement Award.
Congratulations to you, Dave. Our final college awardee tonight comes from University College. It's led by Dean Barbara Kopp-Miller. Their award recipient this year, Mr. Lynn Fruth.
Lynn Fruth was and is #1 in University College. The man who has built one of the nation's most successful real estate brokerage firms, the Danbury Company, right here in Toledo, was the very first graduate of University College back in 1972. In 2019, he's #1 again as the recipient of UCollege's Outstanding Alumni Award. Lynn came to UToledo from Tiffin Columbian High School, largely because we offered the biggest scholarship and the niftiest student ID. He began in education, moved to arts and sciences, was elected vice president of student government, served as the student rep on the university's board of trustees and the athletic board of control, was president of Alpha Sigma Phi fraternity, was a member of Blue Key, and, well, generally had a really good time as an undergraduate. With plenty of credits earned, Lynn was a perfect fit to float over to the newly created University College, where students work with faculty to design a track of study. His was urban administration, which was perfect for his future career. His favorite UToledo moment, aside from flashing his cool student ID, came when campus police and the vice president of student affairs, Lance Thompson, for whom the student union is now named, surrounded the University Hall bell tower at midnight. Lynn and some friends had climbed the tower and spliced music, full blast, into the tower's speakers. The noise woke up half of the Old Orchard neighborhood. Todd and Andrew's dad went on to earn his law degree at Toledo in 1976. While running out of money for law school, Lynn's father, Lloyd, a broker in Tiffin, said, "Why don't you go out and sell a house?" Living on popcorn and beer because that's all he could afford. Those are Lynn's words, by the way. He made $632 in his first 6 months in real estate. Things finally began to pick up for Macy and Libby's dad, and he was an agent for only 2 years when he decided not to practice law. After working for a variety of real estate companies, Lynn was approached by Danbury owner Dick Lewacki to come work for him. Lynn didn't think he was good enough for Danbury. Not only did the 1989 Ohio Realtor of the Year work for Glowacki, he ended up taking over for him as owner and CEO. To get an idea of Todd and Andrew's dad's success, one only has to look at the numbers. When he joined Danbury in 1985, it had 13% of the market. Today, its share is 27%. More impressively, Libby's dad's company is now ranked 172nd out of 80,000 brokerage firms in the entire country, with 4,300 transactions last year totaling $830 million. Aside from growing Danbury, Lynn is especially proud of creating the Danbury Treasure Chest. Since humble beginnings in 1994, over $1.2 million has been raised, assisting over 1,000 families. Last year alone, $158,000 was raised to assist the most needy of children and families at Toledo Children's Hospital. Officials there say it is most often the fund of last resort for these recipients. Now splitting his time between Fort Myers, Florida and Toledo, Lynn is working with the next group of owners who will lead Danbury: Dan McQuillan, Maggie Fawcett, and Kevin Warren. Susie's brother built the Danbury Company into the top real estate firm in Northwest Ohio and Southeastern Michigan. Lynn Fruth is #1. University College's very first graduate leads the way once again in 2019. He's UCollege's Outstanding Graduate.
Lynn Fruth, everyone. It's now time to hand out the 3 most prestigious honors given by the University of Toledo Alumni Association: the Edward H. Schmidt Outstanding Young Alum Award, the Blue Tea Award, and the Gold Tea Award. The Outstanding Young Alum Award goes to a graduate age 40 or below in recognition of career accomplishment and the differences they've made in their community. The award in 2005 was named in honor of Ed Schmidt, a fantastic supporter of this institution for many, many years. Our Edward H. Schmidt Outstanding Young Award recipient this year joins us tonight from Nashville, Tennessee, Mr. Brett Babcock.
This little guy, Brett Babcock, is a rock star in the country music capital of the world. The pride of Liberty Center, Ohio, has made a major name for himself, not only in his new hometown of Nashville, Tennessee, but throughout the country. The Edward H. Schmidt Outstanding Young Alum for 2019 serves as Chief Operating Officer, Chief Finance Officer, and partner at Logicforce. UToledo engineering grad Seth Babcock's brother leads one of the country's fastest growing e-discovery, IT optimization, and digital forensic services companies, serving law firms with 20 to 250 attorneys. Since joining Logicforce 4 years ago, Tom and Leon's son, a cum laude 2010 Finance and Organizational Administration grad of the College of Business and Innovation in the Jessup Scott Honors College, has helped the firm grow from 13 employees to 48 across 16 states. Dick Cobb's grandson's company's compound annual growth rate is 40%. The Schmidt Young Alum is such a mover and a shaker that he and his new wife, the former Rachel Laurie, recently were featured on the cover of Nashville Downtown Living magazine. Brett has always been able to carry the ball. As a safety and halfback at Liberty Center High, Seth, Rebecca, Jess, and Emma's brother entertained offers to continue his athletic career at smaller colleges. Instead, Brett became a student assistant for the Rockets, connected by his dad's friend, who is buddies with then Toledo coach Tom Amstutz. While roommates like quarterback Aaron Opelt were on the field, our awardee prepared PowerPoint presentations on upcoming opponents and sat next to the assistant coaches in the press box, helping with formations. And yes, Brett was working on the game plan in the press box at the Big House. He's in there somewhere when UToledo beat the Michigan Wolverines in 2008. After graduation, Brett landed a job in Charlotte, North Carolina with Bank of America. He was an assistant vice president when he left to enter the MBA program at the University of Mississippi. Brett returned to Bank of America after grad school before joining the ownership group at Logicforce. Treasurer of the Nashville City Club's board of directors, Brett is all about giving back to his community and fellow entrepreneurs, too. He's involved with the Child's Place, the Orchard, and Life Fellowship, and has helped 3 startup businesses advising on finance and growth strategy. Brett did some strategizing of his own when he invited Rachel and some of her friends to leave the stands at Nashville's Bridgestone Arena and come to a suite during the SEC basketball tournament after his clients left the building. The IT project manager for Seracor, the largest healthcare company in the United States, became Rachel Babcock on September 21st of this year. Ever the planner, Brett invited his family and hers to be part of the big day when he popped the question. Toledo isn't the only institution to recognize our award winner. 2 years ago, he was honored by Ole Miss with its MBA Outstanding Young Alumnus Award. In honor of his professional success in improving the lives of others through his charitable work, all at a very young age, the University of Toledo Alumni Association bestows upon Brett Babcock a new title. He's the Edward H. Schmidt Outstanding Young Alum in 2019.
I would like to open with saying I'm truly humbled and honored to be named the 2019 Edward H. Schmidt Outstanding Young Alum by the University of Toledo Alumni Association. I take great pride in my alma mater, and I couldn't be more grateful. I wanted to say a special thank you to the following individuals and groups: Dr. Sharon L. Gaber for your outstanding leadership at our great university, Dan Savig, Robin Whitney, and the University of Toledo Alumni Association, and their collective commitment to making Homecoming Weekend here in Toledo truly a special event. I'd also like to congratulate all my fellow honorees. You're a great group. Especially, I would like to say congratulations to Mr. Tom Schuster, Blue Tea winner, and Mr. Alan Berry, Gold Tea winner. I'm inspired by both of your illustrious careers and everlasting commitment to the University of Toledo. You forged the path for me in illustrating what it means to excel professionally while giving back civically and focused on giving back to your community. I'd also be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank my beautiful wife of 2 weeks, Rachel, and my parents, Tom and Leanne Babcock. I'm convinced the greatest lottery you can win in life is great parents, and I struck gold with them. Neither of my parents are college graduates, but they impressed on me early and my siblings the importance of higher education. They always told us, I don't care what you do, but you're going to college. I'm glad I listened to them, and I'm thrilled that I chose, the 18-year-old Brett chose to come to the University of Toledo. I grew up in a small town in Northwest Ohio, Liberty Center, and this university has given me great opportunities. It opened me up to whole new things that I've never really witnessed and seen before. I got to read Homer's Odysseus in my freshman year honors reading conference. I had a thesis advisor, Professor Gene Collins, a native Toledoan, who had an illustrious Wall Street career and created one of the first mortgage-backed securities. That was in spring of 2009 when mortgage-backed securities really weren't too popular. I learned from him about financial regulation. I also got to learn from Judge Gene Zamuda, taking a presidential politics seminar when President Obama was elected. Also, while I was here, as the video said, I got to work with the University of Toledo football staff, and I was a columnist for the Independent Collegian. Really, getting this award, it's made me stop and look back at my time here at UT, which I look back at fondly. Nostalgia is a powerful and a useful thing. And this nostalgia has made me go back, and I read a lot of my columns. I was a little nervous. I hope they passed the test of time, but there was one that really stuck out to me, and it was one that I titled, "College is where character is built, not changed." In this column, I was really struck by some words I heard from my honors reading conference professor, Dr. Dale Snowert. This is what he said: "Over your college career, you're going to learn and experience things that will challenge the things you learned as a child. These experiences could change the way you think or believe about issues and could challenge what you thought was right and wrong. But I'll give you fair warning, everything you've learned growing up isn't wrong, and you should not abandon your principles just because you came across something else that has challenged it. It's okay to challenge your beliefs, just don't throw them away easily." These words have left a lasting impression on me, and I carry those principles with me today. I have a great foundation. I have a wonderful wife, a wonderful family, I have wonderful friends, and along the way I received a wonderful education here at the University of Toledo. I'll forever be proud to be a Rocket. Thank you.
Brett, congratulations. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Great job. The future's so bright when you've got graduates like that coming back at a very young age. Our next award is the Blue Tea Award. It is given in recognition of support of the university and its Alumni Association. The choice of the awards committee this year, they couldn't have done a better job. Mr. Tom Schuster.
The Blue Tea Award is given annually in recognition of support of the university and its Alumni Association, and golfer Phil Mickelson will be the first to tell you that Tom Schuster is a great choice. One needs a corral and a trusty sidekick to round up all that Tom has been involved with on Bancroft Street. Tom Schnell, and the late George Pickett's friend, is a past member of the Alumni Association's Board of Trustees, has served on 5 different committees for the association, and has volunteered at Art in the Mall for nearly a quarter of a century. Cindy Fitzgerald's dad also chaired the ad hoc committee that evaluated whether the Alumni Association should continue with or eliminate membership dues. Tom is past president of the Downtown Coaches Association, which annually raises tens of thousands of dollars for the athletic department. In 2007, the 1985 Adult Liberal Studies graduate won University College's Distinguished Service Award for his work on behalf of the college. And while he gives unselfishly of his time and talent, Tom readily shares of his treasure as well. Tom and his wife of 52 years, Marilyn, are benefactors of the university. They're members of the President's Club and the Heritage Oak Society, the latter in recognition of a planned gift that will provide support to generations of future Rockets. Tom has financially supported many areas across campus, including University College. His love for athletics can be found inside Savage Arena and the Larimer Athletic Complex, where his gifts aided in their renovation. And when you visit the Kester Alumni Pavilion, you'll be able to rest comfortably on Tom and Marilyn's bench. The Alumni Association's 2019 Blue Tea Award recipient has been passionate about the University of Toledo even before 1965, when he earned an associate's degree in industrial technology. A lifelong Toledoan who grew up in Point Place and went to White High School, Tom played hockey locally, and the chance to attend his hometown university and skate for the Rockets was too much to pass up. His favorite student moment came in 1966 when the Rockets won the Midwest Hockey League crown with a record of 20-1, including victories over Ohio State, Notre Dame, Miami, Illinois, Western Michigan, and the one that still makes him the happiest, Bowling Green. He was named top defenseman that year. Tom retired from Daimler Chrysler in 2001, 35 years after beginning as supervisor of data processing for Kaiser Jeep. His most visible boss was Lee Iacocca. Tom advanced to become senior manager in charge of IT computer operations for 27 plants in the United States and 5 in Canada, while overseeing 175 employees. In 2010, he was named as University College's Outstanding Alumni Award recipient for his career accomplishments. Tom is an avid outdoorsman and past state chair of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Tom's love for the university is exceeded only by his love for Marilyn and their family. Their 3 kids are Greg, Mike, and Cindy, children that Marilyn took care of while Tom worked during the day and took classes part-time at night for 4 years. The family has grown to include Mike's wife, Kelly. Both are Toledo alums and life members of the Alumni Association, as well as Cindy's husband, Matt. Tom and Marilyn have 5 grandchildren: Bridget, Allie, a high schooler Tom would love to see play basketball for the Rockets someday, Emma, Megan, and Logan, who has followed in his grandpa's footsteps as a hockey-playing defenseman. They're very proud of their grandfather, and so is the Alumni Association. For his passionate support of the university, Tom Schuster is our 2019 Blue Tea Award recipient.
Dr. Gaber, faculty, administration, alumni, fellow award winners, and family and friends. First and most important, I want to introduce my family. They're number one for me. Dan said it, my wife of 52 years, Marilyn, is here with me. Excuse me. I'm not Italian, but I hit that up quite often. My son Greg is here, my son Mike, and my daughter Cindy. Mike's wife Kelly, who's also a graduate here, is in Anthony Wayne. Their homecoming is tonight, and Mike has 3 children at Anthony Wayne. My daughter Cindy and her husband and oldest daughter, Allie, are back in St. Louis. She's got some athletic goings on this weekend and couldn't make it. But most important, her youngest daughter, Bridget, is here with me, and she was introduced to a lot of people here tonight. Dan hit on my hockey career here. That was a memorable experience, and I don't know if he mentioned it, but we beat Bowling Green 3 times also. A lot of friends on that team are still friends. In 1965, I received my associate degree here, and I went to work for Kaiser Jeep. 3 years later, in 1968, I went into the data processing, now IT, computer area, and was there as a supervisor for several years. One of my evaluations later on, in the early 80s, my manager told me, Tom, you have a big career here available to you at American Motors, but you need to go back to school and get your bachelor's degree. It's a requirement if you want to move up the ranks. So I came out here and met with University College's Dean Marianne Heinrichs. Her staff worked with me. We put a program together. And 4 years later, in 1985, I graduated with my bachelor's degree, the first in my family to do that. And that was the end of the University College at that time. I still participate and help out with the current staff. Some of the people there, Dennis Letman's a good friend, Kathy Zimmer, B. Daniels, and current Dean Barbara Cup Miller. Those 2 degrees, my associate and bachelor's, opened many doors for me in my career at Chrysler. I was 35 years at Chrysler. Well, it was Kaiser Jeep, American Motors, Renault came into the picture, Chrysler, and you saw Mr. Iacocca's picture there, who just recently passed away. How sad. And finally, it was Daimler Chrysler when I retired. That was in 2001, where, as Dan said, I was senior manager for computer operations and communications in 32 North American plants. Since retiring, I've been involved in a lot of organizations volunteering. Dan had mentioned Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, 4 years as state chair and 20 years in the local committee. I live in Monclova Township, and I've been involved there 8 years on their board of trustees for the Monclova Historical Foundation, where I still volunteer and spend some time on the old building. 107-year-old building obviously needs repair once in a while. Marilyn and I have enjoyed sports at University of Toledo for many years. We've been season ticket holders for football, men's and women's basketball for 35 years. Since retiring, because I was driving back and forth to Detroit, I'm now able to spend time with downtown coaches, it's nothing to do with coaches really, but it's a large athletic fundraising group that in this past year, they just gave the check to the university, and Mike O'Brien could tell you, I think it was $114,000 to the athletic fund and the fundraisers. In the downtown coaches group, I was able to work with Mike O'Brien, Dave Notke, Josh Dittman, Julia Shaw, and many others in their staff have been very good friends. To the Alumni Association, and that's what it's all about. There have been many, many wonderful road trips and events that the Alumni Association has put on. And I could go through a whole list of them, but one of the best was the 2015 GoDaddy Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. It was wonderful. I did serve on the alumni board for 3 years, and Dr. Tom Wakefield was president. He was the one that came to me and asked me to head up a committee to evaluate whether we were going to continue as a dues paying or go to no dues. We put together a large questionnaire, sent it out to 50 mid-major schools like Toledo, and the results came back, and it was overwhelming at that time that we would stay as a dues-paying organization. Those board members on that and some of the friends there, Dr. Tom Wakefield, Larry Lanovitz, Nancy Miller, Rob Bliley, Lee Johnson, and Dave Dimitrica. A big thanks to Bill and Carol Kester, who I hope are here tonight, for their lead donation for the beautiful alumni pavilion up the hill there. And also to Don Warner, who was the president at that time, that was the leader that kept that whole thing going. Also a thanks to Dan Savig, Billy Pierce is over here, Ansley, Amanda, Shirley, Sarah, and many, many more of the alumni group. Through these trips with the athletics and the Alumni Association, Maryland have met so many people and friends that I'd like to say tonight, but the big guy's behind me with the hook. I only have a few minutes to finish it up. So for the wonderful time that has been here, I am very humbled, very proud, and very honored to win the Blue Tee Award. Thank you.
Tom, congratulations.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Tom Schuster. Our final award tonight is the Gold Tee Award. It's given to a graduate in recognition of career accomplishments. And this gentleman, he's had an awful lot of them, Mr. Alan Berry.
The Alumni Association's choice to receive the prestigious Gold Tee Award has been named one of the 50 most influential people in the home building industry. Alan Berry helped build the Masco Corporation into a Fortune 200 company with interests around the world. You may not immediately recognize the name of the firm where Alan spent 36 years, rising through the ranks to become president, but it's likely you have at least one of their products in your home. In addition to Delta Faucets, former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm knows that Masco is also known for the likes of Behr Paint, Craft-Made and Merillat Cabinets, and Peerless Faucet. What Alan has done since earning his bachelor's degree in accounting from the College of Business and Innovation in 1966 is amazing. That's Pope Benedict on the right. There's a reason why President Jimmy Carter enlisted Allen's assistance to help with his Habitat for Humanity projects. He's a doer who has proudly helped build this country. Julius and Lillian Berry's son has always been a high achiever since he was born in Toledo, but the former DeVilbiss High School baseball player made his best pitch as a sophomore. Allen met Karen Chester as a 7th grader and they started dating at age 15. They married in 1965, 1 year after Karen finished her associate's degree at UToledo and the year before he finished up in business. For their 50th anniversary, the couple renewed their vows. Allen says the big sigh of relief was his when she said yes for a second time. As a Toledo student, Jerry Phillips and Steve Hyman's buddy was vice president of the junior class, vice president and treasurer of AE Pi Fraternity, chair of the Schmidt Homecoming Parade, and president of the Student Union Board. Allen was working for Ernst & Ernst, a CPA firm, when oldest son Todd was born. 3 years later, daughter Laura was welcomed into the world, the same year that Allen left Ernst & Ernst to join Cadillac Overall Supply as vice president of finance. The Berries would soon be celebrating a career with Masco. In 1972, Allen became controller of the Brasscraft Manufacturing Company, and in 1988 became its division president, following Masco's earlier purchase of Brasscraft. Like a hot air balloon, Allen's career took off. In 1996, he was named a group president, and in 2005 was promoted to Masco president and chief operating officer. Allen grew Masco's wholesale, home builder, and retail channels and was instrumental in creating Masco Contractor Services, the industry's largest organization for installation of insulation and other home products in new construction. In order to pull off such a mammoth accomplishment, Gordon and Michael's brother spearheaded the acquisition and internal development of the companies assembled to create an extensive organization. Now retired in Commerce Township, Michigan with a winter home in Phoenix, Allen and some friends built a minor league baseball stadium and league in Utica, Michigan in 2015. The United Shores Baseball League is a complex-based operation with 4 teams. In just 4 years, it has sent some 40 former unsigned college players to Major League Baseball organizations, and this year saw its first alumnus graduate to the big leagues. But here is Allen's favorite team, which is also based in Michigan. Todd and his wife Jill have 2 children, Max and Gavin, while Laura and her husband Scott Kay have added Cameron and Jeremy to the Berry roster. Allen has shared his success with his alma mater. Allen and Karen are generous philanthropists who have created a major scholarship fund in the College of Business and Innovation, as well as an accounting fellowship. Labs in Accounting and Leadership also bear the Berry name. He's been named the College of Business and Innovation's Outstanding Graduate and the winner of the college's Pacemaker Award. In 2019, a university-wide honor, Allen Berry is the Gold Tee recipient.
Wow, what a night. You know, I know that it takes a team to put something like this together, but all the videos that you've seen tonight were pretty much done by one person. I'd like a little hand for Dan Savig, who's done just a yeoman's job. I have some special people here tonight that I'd like to briefly acknowledge. My brother Michael and his wife Kathy are in Los Angeles and couldn't be here, but hopefully they're watching this as it's being streamed tonight. My brother Gordon is here. He's a 1970 graduate of the university and a practicing attorney here in town. My son Todd and my daughter-in-law Jill, who's more like a daughter, have driven in from Detroit to be here tonight, so thank you for coming. My daughter Laura and her family couldn't be here because my grandson is a football player and he's got a high school football game tonight. He's a linebacker, so Mike O'Brien and Dave Notke, please pay attention. If football doesn't work, maybe there's a scholarship for kayaking. I'd like to extend my congratulations to all those honored here tonight. What a worthy group. My thanks also to the Rocket football teams from 1969 through 1971 for all the excitement you brought to the city, the campus, and the students. My brother Gordon and I went to all 3 of the bowl games during those times, and it remains a highlight even today. It's been over 50 years since I graduated from this university, and it's hard to believe all the major changes that have occurred since then. I was here when it was TU. Now it's UT. What a major change. When I was here, the glass bowl had 1 level and no seats in the end zone, and a small press box. Now the press box and the suites hold more than the whole stadium held back in the mid-'60s. My junior year, I had an accounting professor, whose name I've long since forgotten, who talked to his classes about 3 things that were relevant to success. Those 3 things stayed with me my entire career, and I'd like to share them with you this evening. The first is common sense. It means sound judgment in practical matters, level-headedness, being intuitive and perceptive. And I believe 75% or more of the issues people face in life or business can be solved with good old common sense. The second item is ethics. Those are the moral principles that govern a person's behavior. There are many temptations that people face over their lives, and careers and staying have taken the ethical beliefs will always keep you on the straight and narrow path. That is always a more rewarding way to go. The third and last area is passion. Knowing your passion in life gives you something to build the rest of your life around. A strong passion for something can let you do amazing things. Just look at Chuck Ely and his teammates and his passion for football. And passions change over the years. In the early years, I wanted to become an accountant, and I became one. Then my passion was to run a business, and I did that. Now my passion is philanthropy and passing on my knowledge to students, and I'm doing that. Before I conclude, my kids refer to somebody, my wife Karen, as a saint. I'm not sure why. But she's been with me on this ride for 54 years, and together we've had quite a ride, and I appreciate that. This university did its part to provide the education I needed to enter the business world. I'm trying to do my part to pay the university back by helping future graduates get the best education they can to be successful in the future. I want to thank the University and Alumni Association for this Gold Tee Award. I'm honored and humbled to be up here tonight and to join a very distinguished list of prior honorees. Let me leave you with these famous words from Dr. Sharon Gaber. Go Rockets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Congratulations. Alan Berry. You know what? One of the neatest things about this Homecoming Gala is when you meet these people, and these people are doing amazing things around the world. They're the nicest people. That's what makes it so very, very special. You know, we began our program tonight by honoring some great alumni, members of the 1969 unbeaten Rocket team. We finished it up with Alan Berry receiving the Gold Tee Award in between a slew of outstanding alumni. Doesn't it make you feel proud that these folks are graduates of our university, the University of Toledo? Thank you all so much for what you have done and continue to do. I'd like to take a moment, as Alan mentioned, we've got a wonderful alumni staff. They've done an unbelievable job. The decorations, all kinds of activities this weekend. Thank you to each and every one of them for an awful lot of work in making this evening and all the activities this weekend possible. Tomorrow, the Edward Schmidt Homecoming Parade will take place beginning at 10:30, going through the Old Orchard neighborhood. You'll see all of our award winners. They'll each have 10 pounds of candy to throw from their car. And so they're going to be busy. Hopefully no one will tear a rotator cuff while they're having fun during the parade tomorrow. It's going to be a gorgeous day. I think 0% chance of rain. How often does that happen? It's going to be a beautiful fall day, and we want you to make sure you participate in all the activities. We've got an alumni band reunion tomorrow. Of course, the Kester Alumni Pavilion will be open after the parade. We have 3:30, the kickoff against the Western Michigan Broncos. It's going to be a big game because it's going to go a long way toward determining who wins the Western Conference Championship in the Mid-American Conference. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to each one of you. Really 400 strong here tonight. We're here for a variety of reasons, but we all have one common bond. We have a common bond with the university that's made a difference in our lives. Each one of you is an ambassador. You can tell the story of the University of Toledo better than anyone. We thank you for doing that. We thank you for giving of your time, your talent, and your treasure to making this institution even better for future generations. At this time, would you all please rise? This is a tradition we started about 20 years ago. To the tune of Fair Toledo, the alma mater here at the University of Toledo, I ask you to turn your attention to the screen for one final look at all of tonight's award recipients. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us. Drive safely home. Enjoy the rest of homecoming weekend. Good night, everybody.